The Sun Belt doing it the hard way. It's Locked On Sun Belt.
You are Locked On Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz back with another edition of Locked On Sun Belt, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. All right, so obviously a ton of college baseball to discuss, and probably a good idea to do a kind of an updated quick version tomorrow morning, because as of right now, as I'm recording this, Southern Miss and Penn are playing. Is that right? Let me make sure I get that right. Southern Miss is playing right now, and so we won't have an update for that to pass along for you until this ends. Coastal Carolina is into the championship game. They will play on Monday. They'll play later today. And yes, Southern Miss and Penn are they underway as I'm recording this? So Southern Miss comes up empty in the first. Penn, this is an elimination ball game. And so it's Samford waiting for them, I guess, is the case, because Auburn, it was 2 and done. So Troy has got to be the most disappointed of all the teams. I mean, obviously, if you don't win, you're disappointed. But my goodness, they just had Alabama ready to go, all done, and they couldn't do it. We will get to that in a bit. Okay, so we'll start with the Ragin Cajuns. Of course, I'm covering them here in Lafayette, and they had a shot. All right, they did. They had a good shot at doing some damage in the Coral Gables Regional. Their pitching may have not been higher end compared to what Texas and Miami have, but they have some depth in pitching. They run really well. They play really good defense. And Texas and Miami, though, both have much better lineups, right? Texas has like a half a dozen guys with double digits in home runs, or 5 guys with double digits in home runs, and Miami has 6. But that's been the way it has been all year for the Cajuns. So that's not anything new. But they're going to have to play a really good baseball game to win. And Texas, they just made more plays, right? Texas won the first game. 4-2, and there's not much you can do about that, really. They saved a center fielder, saves a home run in center field, right? John Taylor would have given the Cajuns like a 3-0 lead. And, Campbell makes a diving catch in right field, stopping what would have been an extra base hit. It was an incredibly well-pitched ball game by Gordon, 7 innings, no walks. In fact, Gordon and Morehouse combined for not walking any of the Cajuns, which is going to stop them from running. They did get 7 hits. They scratched across a couple of runs. They struck out 10 times. Nezu was awesome. I thought maybe a little bit of a quick hook, right? He gives up the tying home run and then walks the next batter on 4 pitches. And it kind of felt like Matt Diggs was playing the long game, which you can understand. Like I somewhere along the way to win this, I may need some pitchers, on short rest. Nezu had pitched a total of 74 pitches. That seemed like the time. All right, we need to calm down a little bit. You're good. It's a 1-1 game. Let's get out of this without giving up another run, and you're okay. Now, if he goes 8 pitches out of the strike zone and has a couple of guys on, or even, the next guy's on with a 5-pitch walk, all right, now you can get him out of there. All right, so now So I'm at least giving him one more batter, and maybe the next guy strikes out or, hits into a double play. He'd given up all of 4 base hits, including the home run. He'd walked 1, which was the last batter that he faced, and he struck out 5. I would have stayed with Nezu. Cajuns bullpen just was not as, well, for lack of a better term, dominant in Miami as they were in Montgomery. I mean, Marshall gave up a couple of base hits, could not save that second run from coming home in, I guess it was the sixth inning. Yeah, in the sixth inning. So Texas takes a 2-1 lead. Cooper Rawls gave up a couple of earned runs in 2/3 of an inning, and Etheridge gave up a base hit and couldn't stop an extra run from coming home either. So it was going to be a tough slog. All right, I thought they had a chance only because of the way they were playing, the bullpen help that they got, and Texas was thin after the starting pitching, and Miami was thin with the starting pitching. We'll get to that ball game here in a second. So the Cajuns lose 4-2 to Texas on Friday. They do come back and, I mean, showed what they can do offensively. That is for sure. When they take down Maine on Saturday, what was that, 19-10? And, I mean, what a great job by Caleb Stelly. I mean, if anyone's never going to forget this weekend in Miami, and we'll see what he can do moving forward for the Ragin Cajuns. But Caleb Stelly, from what I remember, had not played since, wait for it, May 5th. He got to the plate June 3rd. And he absolutely made the most of it. 2 for 4, 3 runs scored, 2 batted in. I mean, and not to mention, he homered on Sunday against Andrew Walters, of all people. So the Cajuns wallop Maine 19-10. Maine wouldn't go away. 4-0, 4-1, 7-1, 7-3, 10-3, 10-5, and then finally the Cajuns took control with a 9-run 7th inning, and even then Maine scores 5 in the 8th. Carson Fluno was pretty good, but he couldn't ever put up that 0 after the Cajuns scored a run. And so he went 7 innings, 10 base hits, 5 runs, all earned. But then, Cash gave up 4 runs. Couch gave up a run without retiring anybody. And Christie came in and sort of calmed everything down. But the Cajuns beat the Maine Black Bears 19-10, putting them against Miami, who had lost to Texas on Saturday, against Miami in an elimination ball game. And it's in Coral Gables. It's at noon. And Blake Marshall's getting the start. I don't know who you're going to start if you don't start Blake Marshall. So I can't question that. Blake was a little bit jacked up. Maybe too good of strikes. He gets Kafas, the leadoff hitter. Miami is the road team in this case. Gets him to pop out. But then a hit batter to Villegas. Gonzalez with, I should say Morales with a base hit. And then Blake Sear with a 3-run home run. And 4 batters in, the Cajuns are down 3-0. Now, being that they are the Cajuns, they battle, right? They got to run across in the second. They got to run across in the third. They never got it. They had a chance to tie things up in the third. I'm not saying that would have been the difference, but they could have made it a 3-3 ball game. Should mention that, what is it, Rosario? He's tough. All right. I know some of these pitches that he's making they don't look good because they're starting on the way we're looking at it on TV on the left side of the plate, and they're coming way inside. Those are tough to hit, right? I mean, those are two-seam fastballs, and they are moving. And so he pitched well, striking out 6. Did give up 4 runs, 3 earned, a couple of walks, and 6 strikeouts. But I was hoping Blake could go around the lineup one time. He couldn't get out of the second inning. In fact, he was rolling a little bit, and all of a sudden he had 2 on. Christie comes in and got him out of the jam. David Christie was also rolling, and they just couldn't get out of it in the 5th inning. Miami scores 2 in the 5th. So do the Cajuns. It's a 5-4 ball game. It's a game, right? It's a game. We're going to see what happens, against that Miami bullpen. And unfortunately, Miami just kept on hitting home runs. And Yo-Yo Morales hits a home run in the 7th. Caleb Stelly a home run in the 8th. That makes it a 1-run ball game. You don't feel so bad. Give us one run game in the 9th inning. We'll take our chances, right? Except Long hits a home run for Miami, and then Morales hits another home run for good measure, makes it 8-5. Turns out that the Cajuns actually had first and third with 2 outs. Higgs struck out looking, I don't think it was strike 3. I'm not sure it was close to strike 3. But I think the 1-2 pitch was a little bit close. Looked outside to me, but it was close. And then I think the umpire got the peer pressure from the crowd because he did give it to him on the other pitch. But the pitch was inside. Nonetheless, Higgs strikes out looking, and that was your ball game. Miami defeats the Cajuns 8-5. I think Miami would go on to lose to Texas to end their season as the Longhorns go 3-0 and advance to the Super Regional. But, what a great run for the Cajuns. Quickly, just to say that, I've only been here a couple of months, so I didn't see quite all the up and downs. I mostly saw the downs, and then they brought it back up. Like we said, they had to sweep ULM, take 2 out of 3 from Texas State, and then maybe 1 from Southern Miss just to get in to the tournament. They needed to qualify for the tournament. When they found themselves 4th, by the way, they swept Texas State, and they beat Southern Miss just to make sure they got that top 6 seed, avoiding the play-in tournament. And then they find themselves playing Southern Miss for the championship. So, they get a win in a regional. They played pretty well. We can go over things a little bit more maybe later on in the week. A little bit maybe too aggressive and not the most fundamental baseball. But they're such a good defensive team. I heard Jay Walker say this, the voice of the Ragin Cajuns, actually on my way to Baton Rouge to watch what little baseball game I did there before the 3-hour delay. The Cajuns made 2 errors today. They hadn't made 2 errors in the same game since mid-April. In college, that's insane. That happens all the time. That's how good that's how good defensively the Ragin Cajuns are. I don't know. I'm not sure that the errors really didn't come back to hurt. And they gave up 1 unearned run. They gave up a bunch of home runs. That's the problem. Long hit a home run. Morales hit 2. That's 3. Sear hit 1. That's 4. That's what killed him. All right. So the Cajuns go out. Texas wins the Coral Gables regional. And congratulations to Matt Daggs and his guys for a tremendous run. All right. We will do that went long. All right. As expected. All right. Southern Miss and Coastal still fighting. We will do Coastal Carolina next because that was one crazy ending on Friday night. But first, let me tell you a little bit about FanDuel. There we go. I think that's right. Make a fast break to FanDuel during the NBA playoffs because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. There's no better place to bet all of the playoff action than America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. There we go. All right, so Friday night, let's make sure I get this again. Friday night, what a crazy ball game. Coastal Carolina and Rider. I only know about Rider because it's kind of right in there between. There's a Rutgers, Princeton, and I think Rider's in between Lawrenceville, maybe closer to Princeton, but I used to live up there. And so Rider's getting no hit. Rider is getting, somehow they're getting no hit. I don't think Coastal Carolina was using their ace because they're playing Rider. They want to save their ace for the #2 seed. And Doyle, 6 innings, no hits, 2 walks, 9 punch-outs. Coastal Carolina is winning this ball game 5-0, heading into the 7th. 5-0. They're 3 outs away, or not 3, 9 outs away from moving on to Saturday's action. A 9-run inning later, and Rider is leading 9-5. 9-5. Now, Coastal scores 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th. They may have had a chance to score more, but they do tie the ball game up. Rider scores 2 in the 10th. I mean, Teddy Sharkey just didn't have it. The closer for Coastal just did not have it. Coastal gets something going in the 10th, but the center fielder for Rider makes a spectacular diving catch. Not only did I think it preserved the win for Rider, but I think if that gets past him, I think Coastal wins the ballgame. So Coastal has to do things the hard way, and they have. So they got to come back on Saturday, and they got to win a couple of ball games. And they take down UNC Wilmington 12-2. Was it a couple of ball games? And no, I think I guess they came back today. I guess they came back or yesterday on Sunday to win another ball game. Coastal beat Ryder 13-5. And so it looks like they're going to be playing on Monday. Do we have Coastal Carolina will take on Duke? All right. I'm not even sure if, let's see here. They do not have, as you may expect, a lot on baseball here for the Blue Devils. So Coastal Carolina is taking on Duke on Monday. I'm presuming they got to win twice. That's not necessarily the case. Let's see what Duke has done. If they had Duke beat Wilmington, and then on Saturday, Duke beat Ryder. So yeah, so Coastal Carolina is going to have to beat Duke twice on Monday. Not easy to do. Okay. So Coastal Carolina losing the first game at home, 11-10 in a game. They're no hitting the other team. And now they have to beat Duke twice on Monday. Good luck to the Chanticleers, who we were actually rooting for because, Locked On Sunbelt. We want them to be in the College World Series. But if anybody can do it, especially in that ballpark, it is the Chanticleers. Okay. So good luck to them. All right. Let's quickly take a timeout. We'll do Southern Miss when we come back. We also got to do Troy, the poor Troy Trojans. Again, I'm sure the Cajuns are disappointed, but the other teams were better, right? Troy had Alabama beat. They just did. Troy had Alabama beat. All right. Meanwhile, Southern Miss is going to, do it the hard way as well. But they knocked out the host. So we'll see what happens. They're now the highest seed in the regional. All right. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk about the Southern Miss Golden Eagles trying to win, as it turns out, the Auburn regional when Auburn's already eliminated. All right, again, thanks so much for tuning into Locked On Sunbelt and continuing to subscribe and like and share. It is a huge help. Let's see what we got here. Let me see. We had 254. 250. We now up to 255. All right, so we're up to 255. 255 subscribers. So we really do appreciate it. In fact, we just got a new one a couple of moments ago. So we do appreciate it. We could really, that's why we're rooting for Coastal Carolina and Southern Miss to move forward. So if you do see the videos on YouTube, please share them. Same thing on social media. Don't forget, we're all on audio as well, wherever you get your audio podcast, Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, if they're still around, wherever you get them, we are there. And we do appreciate it if you do subscribe. If you're on the Apple Podcast, please rate and review. That is a big help. All right, let's talk a little Southern Miss. They also went through and trying to do it the hard way, like all the other Sunbelt teams. Actually, though, so the Sunbelt teams went 1-3. Oddly enough, the Sunbelt teams went 1-3 on Friday. Troy was the only team to win. They've been eliminated with the Cajuns. We'll get to them. But then on Saturday, the opposite happened. The Sunbelt went 3-1. Troy was the only loser on Saturday. Sunday, it has been a mixed bag. So let me see if I can find the Southern Miss ball game on Friday. There's the Auburn, Pennsylvania ball game. That's an odd ball game. Pennsylvania had 3 straight bunts in the 11th inning, scoring 3 runs. Yeesh. Let's see. Southern Miss lost to Samford in 10 innings, 4-2. And Tanner Hall pitches a whale of a ball game, gives up 1 run on 8 base hits, 2 walks, 9 punch outs. And Justin Storm, who pitched so well against the Cajuns to help lead Southern Miss to that Sun Belt championship. 2 base hits, 2 runs, a 2-run home run in the 10th inning. And that was basically all she wrote for Southern Miss on Friday. Southern Miss does score a run in the bottom of the 10th, but now somehow they have to do the hard part, right? They have to win. They got to play 5 games in this super regional. And when you know it, because Pennsylvania beat Auburn, and everybody was thinking Southern Miss and Auburn would face each other in the winner's bracket, and they're up facing each other in the loser's bracket, and Auburn just never got the bats going. Auburn never got the bats going in their own regional, if that means anything. Southern Miss was on top from the get-go, just like Miami did. They put a 3 spot up in the first, adding to it in the 3rd and the 5th. Auburn doesn't get on the board until 2 in the 6th inning. By that time, it's 6-2. Southern Miss with 1 in the 8th, and they beat Auburn 7-2, eliminate the home Auburn Tigers. And then on a Sunday, Southern Miss took care of, well, maybe they're taking care of business right now. Southern Miss took care of Samford already today, 9-4. All right, their bats came out again, a 4 spot in the 6th. In fact, they were behind Samford 4-3, and they scored 4 in the 6th, adding runs in the 8th and in the 9th. Lynch, another home run in that ball game, 3 for 4, just the legend for Southern Miss. Adams didn't pitch all that well, but Sibley did, giving up just 1 run on scattering 6 hits in 4 innings of work. A lot of these times, it's just a matter of eating up innings, and that is the big part of it. Dawson with 2 innings. So Southern Miss is again playing Penn, as apparently Samford has been eliminated. And as of right now, again, they're tied at 1. We'll do another update on Monday morning just to recap that. A short Southern Miss recap on earlier today, I guess, to tell you what's going on. All right. So Southern Miss, again, they're going to have to beat. Is this? Let me see. So Samford, Pennsylvania. Is this the championship ballgame? They're going to. Well, no, they would have to beat Pennsylvania tomorrow again, right? That would be the case, right? So let's see here. Hold on. Okay. Friday, Penn beat Auburn. Saturday, Penn would have beaten. Penn beat Samford. So Southern Miss is playing. Southern Miss is playing Pennsylvania today. If Pennsylvania wins, it's over. If Southern Miss wins, they play one more game tomorrow. All right. I'm kind of all screwed up because, geez, in Baton Rouge, I guess they're a little bit behind, but it turns out not really. So they kind of caught up here today, although they did play 2+ games today. All right. All right, let's wrap this up with Troy. And, I mean, the poor Troy Trojans. They were the only Sun Belt team to win on Friday, and they're in the Tuscaloosa regional. They beat Boston College in another one of those crazy ball games, 11-10. They had a 3-run first and a 5-run 7th inning, and they still needed a run in the 9th to win the ball game. For Troy, Myers had 4 runs batted in. Baudelaire had 4 runs batted in. And they needed every single one of them as Troy beats Boston College 11-10. Okay, so now you got to come back from that emotional roller coaster. And they had Alabama beat. I'm going to see. They committed 4 errors, and that's a problem. I mean, Alabama scores 4 runs in the 9th inning. It's an 8-7 ball game. All right, so it's just a 1-run ball game. But 8-7. And let's see what the play was, what they call the error on, because that was the end of the ball game. They called the error on Cobb, the shortstop. All right. It certainly looked as if it went off the first baseman's glove like he just missed it. Now, I don't know. That would be Sullivan. I don't know if he's stretching in towards the baseline, although not in the baseline. And you just don't see it very often go past the first baseman without him leaping, right? I mean, obviously you want to get the out, but you can't let a run. You can't let 2 runs score, right? You got to come off the base. You got to sit. You got to keep the ball in front of you. It looked to me like it went past Sullivan. All right, like he should have caught the ball and ended the game. And instead of Troy, being in the championship game on Sunday, they were in an elimination ball game on Sunday, and they lost. They didn't quite recover, probably emotionally. I mean, BC beat them. BC's pretty good. Don't get me wrong. Boston College is pretty good, but I'm not sure Troy got over that loss. I mean, it is tough to come back from that one, right? We're all about the what if. Oh, you got to move on. That's tough to do. They lost to Boston College 4-1. They had Alabama beat. Troy in Tuscaloosa had Alabama beat, and don't pull it off. So instead of playing in the championship game on Sunday, where now they have room for error, so to speak, they can lose and come back on Monday. Instead, they find themselves in an elimination game. And Boston College will take on Alabama. I think they're taking them on right now, in fact. Or they will take them on Sunday. So, in fact, it's coming up Sunday night, apparently just after 9:30. So, all right. So, as of right now, and this is recording 9:24 Central Time, and we're a little bit long as it is, 9:24 Central Time, the Cajuns have been eliminated. Troy has been eliminated. Coastal Carolina has to beat, Duke twice on Monday. And Southern Miss is playing Penn on Sunday, and they're going to have to beat Penn on Sunday night and then again on Monday. All right. Somehow, let me check that out. Not sure if that's correct. Obviously, we did the Penn and NCAA baseball bracket. We did the Penn and Southern Miss one, but I want to make sure we get the. Let's see here. All right. Duke. I know Duke has one loss. So Duke has one loss. So Coastal Carolina with a win over Duke is advancing. So that's the championship game. They don't have to beat them twice. All right. I was wrong on that. All right. It didn't feel right that they were going to play 2 games on Monday if necessary. So Coastal Carolina's got a loss. Duke has a loss. And the winner ends up playing Virginia. Virginia wins their own regional. So they will be hosting the Super. If Coastal wins, obviously, So if Coastal wins, they advance out of their own regional as well. And either one of those 2 teams, Duke or Coastal Carolina, are going to Charlottesville. Let's see the Southern Miss. Southern Miss one is going to be interesting. And Southern Miss does have to beat Penn twice, once Sunday night and once on Monday. Who hosts? Because Clemson was the seed. Clemson was the seeded team. They were the 4th seeded team. Tennessee beat them. Auburn was the 13th seed, and they were eliminated. So it'll be very interesting to see. Obviously, if it's Tennessee and Penn, they're going to play at Tennessee. But Southern Miss hosted a Super Regional last year. So I don't know how they work that out. So, all right. So we cleared that up. All right. I did clear that up because it just didn't seem right. It feels like Duke, I must have missed it. Duke and Coastal Carolina playing for that championship on Monday. Winner take all, apparently. All right. Now we're done. Now I can thank you for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt. We will do a quick update on Monday morning. So if you see this one, this is about over half an hour. The other one will be, 5 to 10 minutes to see where we are with Southern Miss and Pennsylvania. All right. Thanks again for tuning in to Locked On Sunbelt. Have a great week, everybody. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. And you've been listening and watching Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.